Good morning from the Isle of Skye, and I've come up onto the Trotternish Ridge. Behind me in the distance is the Quiraing. So yesterday we had a lot of sea har up the north end of the island. So I live up the northwest of the island. Had a lot of sea har. It was reasonable, well, actually it wasn't too warm here, about 15 degrees. But forecast initially was saying for this morning fog, so that kind of got me excited for maybe a cloud inversion. Set my alarm for 3:30 this morning. Looked out my bedroom window, which looks over to the northwest towards Lewis and Harris, and I can see some fog coming in off the sea. So yeah, I come up to the Quiraing. When I got to the car park, there was no inversion, but as I was walking up onto the Trotternish Ridge, I could see cloud coming in off of the sea, but unfortunately it's actually backed off quite a bit now. So I don't think I'm going to get any kind of major cloud below me here. Still a beautiful scene with or without the cloud below me. But the downside is, whilst I've been here, a lot of the cloud that was above has broken up, disappeared. I mean, there is quite a mackerel sky above me just now. I think the cloud is moving in that direction. You never know. There is a band of cloud above the horizon, which is going to block any initial light. But yeah, just have to see what happens. You know, that is the case. You saw my previous video from here, I think it was last year. We came up, hoped for a cloud inversion. I was actually in the cloud for probably 2 hours maybe. So, I keep coming back to try and get those shots that I have in my mind's eye. Not going to happen this morning, but I may get some nice shots anyway. So composition's already set up. Got the 14 to 35 f4 lens on. If you watched my last video, I was comparing that against the 15 to 35 2.8, which I've had about 5 years now. So yeah, I'm shooting exclusively with that lens just now, just so I can get a feel for how it performs. So the composition is already set up. I don't know what focal length I'm at, maybe about 26mm. I'll shoot this at f8 and f11 again just to compare sharpness. So yeah, I am now, well, it's still about 10-15 minutes from sunrise. So yeah, fingers crossed. You never know what's going to happen. So the sun's about maybe 10 minutes or so to coming up above the cloud that's covering the horizon there. So I've got my composition set up. I've actually changed it slightly to include the sun in the shot. So I'm now at about 21mm. So I'll hopefully have the sun coming in towards the right-hand third of the frame. So I'll show you my rough composition on the phone here. Just remember, this is a 16:9 orientation. So it'll be, see, something like that in terms of the top of the frame, and then going down to about that, something like that. So the sun will rise, well, come up into that little gap you can see there. Already getting some anti-crepuscular rays shooting up out of the cloud. So yeah, fingers crossed I've got it all set up properly in terms of my composition. I may just have to adjust it slightly as the sun comes into my frame. So yeah, I'll just double check my settings. I'm currently got it at f8. So as the sun comes into the frame, I'll go down to f11 and f16 just to get that sunburst effect. I won't go down to f22 because that can cause diffraction and you'll end up getting softness. So yeah, just got to wait for the sun to appear. So the sun is now in the smallest of gaps. It's not actually appeared where I thought it would. It's just appeared in a gap in the cloud, so that's just about disappear now. I've been taking some shots, but what's happening as well is actually the cloud is now coming in off of the sea. Now, when the sun did appear, it didn't give me any light below. I took some shots anyway, just to check this lens, well, to test this lens, shall we say, in terms of its sunburst, which looks quite good on the shots here. Yeah, f16 looks pretty good. So yeah, it's now disappeared behind the cloud again. I may see it once more, but actually the cloud above me is it's now actually got better, but there is no light. So I'm not actually sure if I'm going to get any light across the landscape this morning, but as I will always say, you've got to come out, you've got to be here in the hope of getting something. So yeah, there's no point in taking any shots at the moment. So I'll just hang fire and see when the sun gets a little bit higher, see if it shows itself again, and hopefully get some more shots. This is the best shot I got from up here when the sun appeared in a gap in the clouds.
And although not the best conditions in terms of light and sky, you can't deny that this viewpoint can produce some awesome photographs when you have better conditions. I have had better conditions than this from here, however I'm striving to get the shot I have in my mind, so we'll keep returning until that happens.
Well, I don't think there's any chance of seeing the sun, although I can just see it. It's in the tiniest of gaps, but it's not doing anything. But I'm not going to see it properly anytime soon because it's just going to continue to go arc round to the south where there's more and more cloud. I mean, the cloud is actually really nice at the moment. We've got bits of mackerel sky and the cloud is actually coming in quite a bit off of the sea as well. Not major amount, but yeah, a nice amount. But yeah, I'm just not going to get any light. So I think what I'll do is I'll pack up, I'll head further down the ridge, and I'll talk about a couple of bits of gear to you. Because I keep getting asked questions about my tripod head, and want to talk about something which I've got on the video camera as well. So yeah, it's a shame, you know, I've got a great sky around me, but no light, and that's the nature of the beast, as we say. So I'm going to pack up and head down the hill.
As I headed down the ridge, I had that nagging feeling I may have left too early. This is something I'm sure many of you can relate to. However, a decision has to be made based on what we are seeing at the time, in terms of the cloud and light. In this case, it looked like there wouldn't be any light appearing for quite some time. The fog was continuing to come in off the sea, but there was still a lot of cloud to the east, so I was hoping I'd made the correct decision to head down.
So a question I've been asked a few times already, once actually in my last YouTube video, was what tripod head do I use? So I just need that taller. There we go. So I thought I'd run you through that this morning whilst I have the opportunity. And this is it, the R6 D4 gearhead. Now I've had it for maybe 2-3 years now, maximum, and gone from a ball head, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, it's heavy, it's pricey. I've got the non-geared panning version, which was an extra £200 to £300, already on top of £1,200. So yeah, pretty expensive, but it's very well made. And it just works. I mean, it works amazingly. It's so smooth. You've got 2 round knobs on it, which does the fine adjustments. And I've got my panning either at the base there or on front of the top of the head there. So that would actually be a geared one if you have the geared panning version. And then you've got 2 teardrop knobs, which allow you to basically just loosen it right off and do big adjustments. But I actually never use them. But yeah, it's just so smooth. So how, you know, when I'm setting up, I've got my lens cap off, camera on, you know, I loosen off the geared head, sorry, not the geared head, the panning bit to begin with, just bring up my horizon, level that off, do my tilt, lock off my panning, and there we go. You know, it doesn't take that long, and it allows you to be extra precise with your composition compared to a bald head. So a bald head, that's a bald head. A ball head, where when you loosen it off, I've seen so many people do this, they loosen it off, trying to get the composition, they tighten it up, realise the horizon isn't level, so they loosen it off again, all of a sudden, you know, the camera just drops and they've just lost the composition. So yeah, this just allows you to do these fine micro adjustments, and it's ultra solid with my 7200 with my 100-400mm lenses, no creep whatsoever. So yeah, that's the tripod head, the R6 D4 geared head. So before I end this video, I want to talk about one final bit of gear, and that is the L bracket I have on my Canon R6 Mark II. Now, the R6 Mark II is my primary video camera and also the camera which I take up the mountains with me because it's slightly lighter than the R5. But previously I had a Peak Design capture clip plate on there, so it allows you to attach your camera to your shoulder strap via a clip that's on a capture clip, which is on the shoulder strap. And so if you're out walking or what have you and you just want to quickly take a shot, just basically take it off and you get your shot. Rather than have to put your bag off on the ground, rummage through your bag, that moment may be gone. But the downside to that is it meant I didn't have an L bracket on my camera, so when I was up in the mountains, if I wanted to do panoramics, it was a bit of a pain because I like to do my panoramics in a portrait orientation. So what I've got is the three-legged thing, Ellie, get it? L bracket, Ellie, and it has the capture clip plate on it, so it allows me to still have my camera on the capture clip and allows me to do panoramics should I wish to. I've gained a little bit extra weight with this, I think about 80 grams, so I've saved weight with the 14 to 35 if that's the lens I decide to keep, but then I've gained 80 grams, I think it's about 80 grams by having the L bracket, but hopefully it will actually work out in the long run. Before I go, I did take one shot here. I've got no direct light, but the cloud is coming in off the sea nicely and there's actually nice reflections in the loch below, so I took one shot. I've not had anything overly impressive this morning. I just had to come out and the hope I got what I wanted. Just as a shame that to begin with there wasn't much cloud, which wasn't ideal, but then the cloud built too much, so I didn't actually get any direct light. But that's the way it goes. You've got to put yourself out there and hope that you get the shot that you wanted. Anyway, I'm going to stop my rambling and say, hopefully you liked the video. If you did like it, as always, please give it a thumbs up. And again, as always, any comments appreciated. If you don't already subscribe to the channel, please do consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of when another video is uploaded. And until that one, bye-bye.
Well, after I had stopped filming, the conditions did improve. The fog ended up surrounding the base of the hill below me and a wide band of crepuscular rays beamed down towards the southeast. The clouds above also reflected nicely in the lochs below, so I quickly got my camera back onto the tripod and got this photograph. The composition here is a 50-50 split of sky and land. This was a conscious decision as I really liked the texture in the sky. As there was no further interest below the bottom of the frame, including more sky also gave me the option to do a 16:9 crop should I want to remove some. Did I make the right decision to come down the ridge? Well, I think so. The crepuscular rays wouldn't have been as impactful from higher up. It would have meant shooting a much wider composition to make the most of them, and it would also be pointing out of the frame.